Imagine you're a $40 million producer and you walk away from it. You walk away because you're burnt out. You walk away because you're not ready to go work for that large national company all over again. You miss that boutique, elite, smaller organization where you had a seat at the table and you had a voice that mattered. But then you reinvent and you come back, this time better than ever. That's today's guest. That's today's podcast. And I promise you, it's a story with real life lessons that you won't want to miss. Check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus, you are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and a very special guest. She lives in Wilmington, North Carolina, by way of Flint, Michigan. Don't worry. She is not bionic due to the water. She got out of there in time. If she's not at work, you can find her on her dirt bike. That's right. I said her on her dirt bike. She's been riding since she was 6. She is with me at one of the coolest mortgage conferences of the year. It's MortgageCon 2026. We are recording this live from a yurt. That's right. I said yurt. If you're on your YouTube, you can check it out. It's the coolest YouTube video that we have for podcasting. She is the one, the only, Amanda Callaghan. Amanda, welcome to the Loan Officer Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So we're here in Orlando, Florida. It's Universal Studios. It's MortgageCon 2026. And you and I met earlier last year, but it wasn't at MortgageCon. I think we met actually, was it a FAMP event that you were down here for?
Likely so, yes.
Yeah, and it's really cool because you were down here at the time. You were an account rep for class valuation, yep. Right? And an AMC. And you and I were invited to the same dinner, but somehow you got recruited to leave class and to join your new employer, Empire.
Correct, yeah.
And so much of where we're going to go in today's podcast is how you got to this spot, right? February 2026. You're leading growth for Empire, which is one of the fastest growing mortgage brokerages in the country, right? They just opened up a real estate company as well.
Correct, yeah.
Are you involved in that at all? Side note?
Not at the moment, but...
And is it Maverick, MVRK? Is it Maverick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Housing Wire did an amazing write-up on it. But here's where I want to go with the interview, because your story is unique, right? Not many people walk away from a $40 million book of business, making that type of money. And by the way, this wasn't COVID years. This was post-COVID, right? So Amanda's doing over $40 million a year in volume, walks away from it, but finds her way back in the mortgage industry. So what we're going to do is we're going to let the audience first get to know you, like how you got started in mortgage, like what your career trajectory looked like, maybe what you learned along the way, what you would do different if you were starting over, what you would maybe 10x based on your experience, and what you learned when you were willing to walk away. Your words, you became a gypsy.
Yes.
All right. So that's where we're going to take this. But before we do, I'm going to take a quick pause so we can listen or hear from today's show sponsor.
All right.
If you're a licensed originator who's closing loans, but you're not consistent, this is for you. If you're brand new or just looking for motivation, trust me, this is not for you. Most LOs don't need more information. They need structure. They need proven processes and somebody to hold them accountable. T-Lob's Originator Coaching gives you weekly live coaching, scripts top producers actually use, and step-by-step business systems you can implement immediately. Not someday, we're talking day one. You're not watching videos alone. You're executing in real time with other originators who take this seriously. Right now, you can try it free for 2 weeks. That's 2 full weeks for free. You'll sit in on live coaching calls. You'll get access to the frameworks and see exactly how top producers run their business. If it creates clarity, if it creates momentum, or even if it puts wins on the board, you keep going. If it doesn't, no worries, you can cancel. No pressure at all. Click the link, start the 2-week trial, and finally, build this like a business, not a side hustle.
All right, so we're back. Where do we want to get started, Miss Amanda? Do we want to get started like, how did you become an LO?
Sure.
All right, let's go
It's a
there.
powerful one.
Yeah. So, like, what year was it that you get licensed, and what were you doing prior to mortgage?
Well, I was a baby, basically. I mean, I have been in the banking world since I was able to work.
Okay.
So I started off in a credit union when I was young, and I was a teller. And at the time, I was going to school, and I was going to school for forensic science, which is the polar opposite of doing mortgages, of course.
Yeah. So, like, you were like CSI.
Yeah.
Yeah. They called you CSI Mandy back then.
Probably so. And so, I did a job shadow, and it was in Flint, Michigan, of course. So
So you were still in Flint.
Yeah.
Oh, so
yeah.
you maybe didn't escape the water. Did you escape the water?
I don't know. You'll find out before the end of this podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah, you're not glowing yet, so okay, we're good. Well, you're glowing, but not like with radioactive
Not
material.
green.
Yes, okay.
And at the time, I thought everything was great, going through school, thought it was wonderful. This was what I was going to do. And at the end of that, I did a job shadow, and it was a homicide shadow. And it was gruesome, and they didn't warn me for that. I don't think anyone could warn you for something like that. And after that, I realized that I have a very weak stomach, and I also am good at math. So I stuck with just the banking world, and I worked my way up from the very, very bottom all the way to, of course, that 40 million that you mentioned.
So you started as a bank teller at a credit union.
Yep.
I guess you'd call yourself a credit union teller.
Yep.
Or don't they call them like member associates when you're with a credit union?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So you're a member services.
Yep.
And did you start originally originating for a credit union, or did you have to leave the credit union to go find your first origination position?
So that's actually a good story. So I decided that Flint, Michigan and shoveling snow and living in that world was not for me either. So I took a leap of faith. I moved down to North Carolina. And when I moved down there, I got a job at a bank. And
Okay. Did you know anyone down there?
No.
And how'd you pick Wilmington?
A friend of the family moved to Raleigh, which is 2 hours inland.
Okay.
And so it was one of those things where we came down to visit, my family and I. And I was like, I like it here, so I'm going to move down here. And if you guys want to venture down later, then you're welcome to.
Did they?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Wow.
They live about an hour north of me now.
How cool. I love Wilmington. I was telling Amanda outside of the recording that I've done 2 Ironman competitions in Wilmington, and it's by far like I can't wait to go do another race there because it's just such a great weekend and such a beautiful, quaint city, but clean city. Mm-hmm. It's like just big enough, but it's still very much small town.
Yeah, very much so.
So you've been living there for the past decade or so.
Right.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
And then you went right back into banking when you moved down there. Mm-hmm. So then was it that bank that finally saw something in you and promoted you?
Well, it wasn't. So I had actually, when you work for the bank, you don't have to go through all the licensing and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You basically get slapped with an MLS ID and there you go, right? I didn't even know what an escrow account was. Yeah. And so I was like, all right, I can do this. And so I sold more mortgages as an individual LO, making like $15 an hour than any branch did combined in the state of North Carolina and South Carolina.
Working for the small bank.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What were you doing different?
I don't know. I just was good at it, and I didn't know why. And again, I didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
So this was just me having conversations with, the consumers that would come in or whatever. And I also came from the north, so everybody kind of wanted to put me in a jar and study me because we
You're
run
a
really
Yankee?
fast. Yeah, exactly.
They brought one of them Yankees down here?
Like, what's up with this girl?
Yeah.
And so one of the commercial guys who was friends with all of us, we were called FSRs at the time, financial service rep or whatever. And he went and he took everybody else with my title out to lunch one day. And I was kind of butthurt about it. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, I thought we were boys. Like, seriously? So he took me out the next day, and I was so naive at the time. I had no understanding of the mortgage business when it came to compensation, and that could just be a career, not like let's deal with every person that has an NSFE and then maybe do a mortgage. So and get a gift card.
Yeah. That was your comp. You're getting $15 an hour. You're
And a slap on the back.
You're opening new checking accounts, selling credit cards, dealing with NSF fees, dealing with people who can't understand online banking technology, and you're also slinging mortgages at a very high level, but you're not getting compensated like a loan officer.
You're right.
Yeah, what a bargain for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, how dare you? But so he had actually taken me to lunch by myself. He said, I just want to show you something. And I had closed a $1.2 million loan on the beach. And he's like, I just want to give you a little bit of an idea on what you would have made off of that if you were in the independent side of mortgages. And it was right then and there that I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you have to go to them and say, I need to be promoted to a loan officer, or did you just have to get up and leave and go do loans somewhere else?
Yeah, I went to one of the bigger retail mortgage shops in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yeah. Was that when you were at GR? Or
no,
somewhere
that
different?
was initially.
Okay.
So it was like where I cut my teeth. So they were very popular. They were in with all the builders and all of that, and they were small.
Okay.
But then I was like, I want to be part of the big dogs.
Yes.
And Guaranteed Rate had a huge presence.
Okay.
Huge presence in Wilmington. And so I went over there and learned everything that I could possibly know. And I was there for quite some time, 4 years, I think. And then I was like, I'm getting lost in the sauce. And I cannot get above that. Like, I was like right below President's Club. And I wanted that so bad, but I just felt like I was, just a number shuffled in there with how, national loan officers of I have no idea what their numbers are, but it's big. So then I was like, okay, let's do something more small but national, and where, if it makes sense, I have a seat at the table, right? And I'll be a part of making this bigger, whether it's marketing, whether it's helping other loan officers, whatever that looks like. And that was Angel Oak Home Loans on the retail side.
Yeah, went back when they had retail, and they later shuttered their retail. They're still around on the TPO side of things, right?
Yep.
On the correspondent side of things. But I think it's really cool, like, lesson to be learned, or at least a lesson to be shared, that there's something for all of us in this industry. I get these phone calls all the time, like, hey, Dio, I'm getting started. Do you think I should start at a credit union or a broker shop or here or there? And my answer is always the same. It hasn't changed for a decade. I go, you get your start where you have the best opportunity. And best opportunity is, where's the best leader? Where's the best systems? Where's the best culture? Where's the best mentorship?
Yeah.
Right now, sometimes you take what you can get. I mean, coming in as a inexperienced, no book of business originator, not a lot of people want you. But once you gain that experience, which is what you gained being a teller at a small bank, now all of a sudden you can start picking and choosing. And I love this story. You don't love big national top 10 lenders. And I think you may have just shared the answer, but I want you to summarize it again. Give us 3 reasons why you, the originator, right? Someone who had the opportunity to fund $20 million a year, $30 million a year, you peaked at $40 million a year, walked away from it. We're going to talk about that in a second. But what is it that you don't like about being with a big national lender?
Loan officers, if 2026 is going to be your breakout year, this matters. Most originators don't struggle because of rates. They struggle because they don't have systems, structure, or accountability. I'm Coach Christy with TLOP's Originator Coaching. Originator Launch is a 16-week small group coaching program designed to help you build a real business, not just close the next loan. You'll get weekly live coaching, proven scripts used by top producers, real accountability, homework that actually moves the needle, and 2 private one-on-one calls with your coach. This program is capped at just 10 originators, so the attention is personal and the results are real. This isn't a course you watch. It's coaching you execute. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building with intention, apply now. Spots are limited, and once they're gone, enrollment closes. Register today.
You just get lost in the shuffle.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It comes down to, you want to feel like you have a seat at the table. You want to feel like you have a voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those huge companies, unfortunately, for some of the individuals that are trying to grow, right, they're right there. And a lot of times they miss that mark by putting the additional resources into them and not their existing, $100 million plus producers, which they've earned it. I agree. But you got a lot more out there that you could build into that, that chairman's circle group of people that can benefit your company in a big way. And I think that's part of what they miss.
Well, it's interesting for those executives that tune in, or those owners that are building to become top 25, top 20, top 10. It's, like, listen to this story, but then recognize this. Like, I know this from running production. There's a law of diminishing returns. Once I have an originator doing 60, 80, 90, 100 million, it's not like I'm making higher basis points net profit on them. I'm making lower basis points net profit. So I'm making a certain revenue dollar, right? But it's like, do I want to spend all of my resources on $100 million producer? Or would I rather take those resources and put it towards 3 $30 million producers, knowing that as it pertains to basis points, I probably make more in terms of bips on them. Now, I need my $100 million producers because I need to show the $30 million producers what's possible. I need to show the $30 million producers that we're a great company because we're the type of company that $100 million producers choose. But there is a slippery slope, and your advice to any executive is, hey, don't forget about those that are doing 18, 24, 36, especially if they project well, right? That was you. You projected well, but you got lost in the sauce, as you like to say, working for two national companies, right? You worked for the one, then you went and found a home that felt good for you. Then when they decided to exit retail, you were consumed by another large national lender. And that's when you had, I would call a freak the fuck out moment.
Yeah.
You walked away. People aren't going to believe this. I still don't believe it. You walked away from a $40 million a year book of business. Mm-hmm. Why? Why, and what did you learn?
So it took a very long time for me to go over to that company, Angel Oak.
Yep.
Because I went through a lot of the bait and switch, right? So I had to make sure that I was making the right decision, and I don't make decisions on a whim. It takes me a long time to do that. So when you go from having this happy family, I love all my underwriters. I'm friends with all my staff. I'm here helping them grow. We brought on 2 junior loan officers that were doing absolutely phenomenal, right? Like we were cooking with oil. And so when that abrupt left, turn happened so quickly, I didn't even have time to make a decision. And it wasn't going to be, the pressure of you sign this sign-on bonus right now with cross country. We want you so badly. And I'm like, no, I can't be bought. And I also don't, I know what this is like, and I don't want that again. And I don't have the time right now to be able to make a good decision. So I backed up.
What did you tell your referral partners? What did you tell your past clients?
Yeah, well, I made sure, so I went over for a very short period of time.
Okay.
With that lender. And when I went over there, the goal was to, one, make a softer landing for my team.
Yes.
Right? Because at the time, they fell under my umbrella, especially the staff. I wanted them to all have jobs. So when we went over there, I was setting everybody up with new loan officers and make sure they all had a home.
Okay.
During that time, it's, of course, having conversations with a lot of my referral partners, like, this is where I'm at right now. You're in good hands with some of my other loan officers. They're trained by me, so
they're good.
You are going to be in good hands. And that was basically it. Still good friends with a lot of them. Wilmington's a small town. You can't go into a grocery store without running into 9 of them. So I can't get pulled over by the cops without them saying, "Miss Green, did you do my mortgage?"
So do you miss originating? Do you find yourself wanting to get back into it?
Yeah. So while I was at class valuation, they allowed me to just hang my license. And that way, if I had a few loans, I could pop them in. Now, keep in mind, I was retail. So even just throwing a few loans in on the broker side was a complete whirlwind for me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there is a learning curve.
Very much so.
Yeah. Now, by the way, there are plenty of broker shops out there that operate less like mom and pop, right? And they have their shit together, and I'm confident you're probably with one. Right, where you could hang your license, you could be assigned an LOA, and you could get a little bit more of that streamlined, consistent process that maybe you're accustomed to.
Yeah.
But you were working at class, you're traveling the country, right? Because you have clients that are all over the country, right? For those that don't know, Class is the largest appraisal management company, right?
Correct.
And you were like vice president of sales or account management. What was your role there?
So basically we would, and this was one of the benefits too, was I got to know everybody. So on the broker side of the business, not necessarily retail, but the broker side of the business, we would have, I was a relationship person, right?
Okay.
So I needed to get in front of the leadership teams of all these big, huge broker shops across the nation, get to know their team, and ultimately sell them on why to use us and to be their advocate for anything that they could possibly need in the AMC side.
Okay, so you left originating, but you didn't leave the industry.
No.
In fact, I think your storyline from your LinkedIn profile went, you left originating, you went to Arrive, which Arrive, for those that don't know, especially my friends who are at some of the larger banks and the larger credit unions, or even the larger IMBs, Arrive is what I would call the drug of choice for mortgage brokers for their LOS.
Yes.
Right? It's one of the flashiest, most popular loan origination software for mortgage brokers. So you went and worked for them.
Yeah.
But it was a salaried position.
Yes.
Was it in sales, or was it more in like client like retention, or was it in management? Like, what type of role did you take?
Well, salary, which is so wild. I was like, I don't know what PTO is. That's weird. You know, there was a lot of things that I just needed to learn about being a salaried employee. But it was a great opportunity nonetheless. And I was in charge of a lot of the big broker shops, leadership teams, and making sure that, you know, if they needed something, if they had a recommendation, if they wanted an integration, whatever that looked like, I was just there to support them.
Almost like a client relations manager.
You're exactly
right? Like they handed you some of their best clients and say, we need to make sure that we're giving them a voice, a seat at our table, and we need to make sure that you're the person that's running that relationship.
You are right.
Okay, so you did that, which was super odd because it was a salaried position. Then you leveraged that into class, but then you were just most recently recruited away from class to kind of step back into origination side, where you're sharing with me you do plan on doing some originations, but you don't foresee yourself trying to grow back to doing 100, 150 units a year, $40, $50 million in volume.
Right.
So what are you doing now, and what excites you about this opportunity?
I think what excites me the most is that it's such a great group of people. I mean, Empire has some of the most, it feels like a family. And I know that's a cliche thing to say sometimes, but it truly does. It wasn't the first offer, and it wasn't, the best on paper.
Yeah.
But it was the best that I could possibly ask for when it comes to the environment and the long-term growth and benefit to myself too. And so what I'll be doing over there is any area of growth that you can think about, that's the hat I'll wear. So whether it's recruiting, we'll do a little bit of origination when it comes through, supporting internally, so internal recruiting, making sure that our people are happy, and rebranding, anything you can think of when it comes to growth, they're going to throw me in the ring.
Yeah, so your title, are you like the Chief Growth Officer?
I am the Director of Growth.
The Director of Growth.
But I asked about that one. We're going to get there.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That may be something you earn in your first year, right? Where you allow your prior sales success to shine through and, get an even bigger seat at the table. So let's do some rapid fire. Okay, we'll do some rapid fire. We'll find a way to put a pretty little bow on today's episode. Then you and I can get back to the MortgageCon conference. I want you to look back at your origination days. I'm going to ask you 2 questions about your originating days.
All right.
Okay, what is one thing that you did that if you had to go back and originate full time, you're going to go do that one thing the most, or put the most amount of focus on it?
Scaling up by hiring and helping other loan officers.
Okay, so like, is that hiring an LOA? Is that hiring a dedicated processor, a loan partner, a junior LO? What does that look like for you?
I was really good on the ops side, but I wasn't good in sharing my time and helping other people like me that are in the industry. You get into the industry more often than you don't, and you are just shoved into the deep end.
So you felt like that helped your personal business, you mentoring other originators?
It did, by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've never heard that answer before. I've probably asked this form of question no less than 100 times. But I will tell you, as a coach, as a teacher, as a mentor, if you want to learn something, teach it, right? If you want to master something, learn it so well that you can teach it. So you felt like it helped your personal production, you mentoring others.
My business amplified tremendously when I didn't ask for them to show up at my door.
Yeah.
Brand new, and 2 young girls. And I said, I wish that Amanda Green had an Amanda Callaghan when I first got in the business. So it was almost like, now I gotta, I have to, right? I can't not. And I was a Lone Ranger, and I brought them on, and my business took off, and I was actually happier doing what I was doing.
I freaking love that for you and for them. So the reverse, or the opposite, is this. If you went all in, back into originating full time, like you walked away from Director of Growth, what's one thing you would not do? Because you did it. You're like, yo, I did this. I'm not going to do that again.
One thing that I wouldn't do, I would be very, very careful with my time.
Okay.
Better time management. And I know that's, again, something we hear every single day in our industry, but I made the mistake of really spending all my time working. It was literally, I wore a shirt that was eat, sleep, breathe, shit, mortgages. Yeah. And in hindsight, I'm like, no, like time management is everything. And I burnt myself out. Yeah. So time management.
It's funny, when you said the might be careful of my time, I remember 2004, 2005 like it was yesterday. I know it was 2 decades ago, right? And that's when I was a rookie loan originator. I'm 25 years old. Like, my wife's pregnant with our first kid. We can't afford our bills. Like, I literally remember like it was yesterday. But the amount of time I spent with that 560 credit score who had no money in the bank,
Yes.
the amount of time I spent with that realtor who called me all the time, but himself had never sold a house, right? It's like, I wished, but I think that's where wisdom and experience really comes into play. But it's now when you mentor others, you can help them be careful with their time.
Yeah.
Let's look at the lessons that you learned when you walked away. Looking back, you walked away. It's working out, right? Like you're probably like, look where I am in my career. But emotionally and mentally, when you look back at that time period, what stands out as like your biggest learning lessons? As if and it could be positive, not negative, or you could have one that you're like, ooh, this didn't go my way, but this was like a blessing in disguise.
Well, you ever make a really bad decision and like all the good things come from it? Like that was my one bad decision where I was like frozen. I didn't know what to do other than like, I'm just going to get them where they need to go and I'm going to exit stage left. But
wait a minute. I love that. You're like, bad decision, Amanda. Don't walk away from making $400,000 or $500,000 a year. What the F are you thinking?
like, I built this. Why would you leave
So
it?
you're
Yeah.
willing to, even today, admit that was not a good decision.
Not at all.
Irrational, knee jerk, freak the fuck out moment.
Yep.
Okay. But you were taking the story somewhere else.
Well, if I had not, I would still be in retail, which is, again, a great platform for certain individuals. But if I look back on what I had made in 2022, this will make me a little nauseous. Knowing what I would have made if I was on the broker side makes me sweat a little bit. But I just didn't know, right? And so the broker side is obviously much better for me. But had I not made that decision, I would not have known that this entire other avenue of the industry exists. I wouldn't know the people in the industry that exist, some of these leaders, and I know you've talked to many of them too, but just having their ear when it comes to just calling them up and saying, hey, what do you think I should do about this? Give me some advice. That's a powerful thing. And it's
so
way more.
You expanded your network,
Yeah.
right? The minute you got out of small town Wilmington,
Yes.
working for whatever lender it was at the time, now all of a sudden you're working for one of the most successful and popular loan origination software companies in the space.
Yeah.
And your clients are all high achieving leaders.
Yeah, the big dogs.
Yeah, and you're learning from them.
Yeah.
And then even when you leave them and you go to class valuation, your clients are some of the top producing companies in the space, and they're becoming friends, they're becoming mentors. So freak the fuck out moment, probably not a good idea, but it's funny how we all still end up where we're supposed to be. And I would imagine, and I know nothing about your comp plan, but I know enough about this industry, you've put yourself right back in a position where you can out-earn a $40 or $50 million originator.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
It's going to take the same hustle. It's going to take the same sales-focused mentality, but you can get there and hopefully find a little bit more satisfaction, fulfillment, purpose. I love that for you, but I love it for our audience who just got to kind of go on your journey with you to be like, hey guys, whatever you're dealing with right now, it's going to work out. Even if you have a freak the fuck out moment, you make a decision that's irrational. If you give it time and you don't give up, like Amanda's living proof that sitting here with a pretty smile on her face saying, yeah, I got this and I love where I'm sitting. That is so cool. I'm going to ask you two more questions and we're going to go ahead and find a way to wrap this up.
All right.
All right. So growing up, I want you to think about lessons that were never taught to you, but you had to learn the hard way. So maybe they weren't talked about at the dinner table. Maybe they weren't necessarily taught in your high school, but when you get a chance to mentor younger people, what is something that you are sharing with them because you wished it was shared with you earlier in life?
I think that this is a really good one. I had a very frugal father.
Okay.
And he used to say, we can't afford. And despite the fact that's probably negative, I always had it in the back of my head to be very safe. And so, what we saw in 2020 was the market. I mean, it was shooting fish in a barrel,
Yes.
right? So we all made money and everybody was getting in the business to get rich. And so, and it wasn't hard. And so that the market changes and to be prepared for that and to make sure that you're not, going out and buying a Maserati because you made, 20 grand one month and whatever else. It's to make sure that you live within your means. I'm not saying don't go have fun and don't reward yourself. Those are super important, but to just
Those dirt bikes aren't cheap.
Oh, no, they aren't, but that's my vice.
Yeah.
We can all have one. But just to make sure you're prepared for if the market does change. And I think we've seen that a lot recently.
Okay. So that's one piece of advice that you would share with those that are maybe starting to hit their stride in this industry.
Yes.
It's one in which, like, you want them to live their life,
Yep.
but at the same time, don't act like the money is always going to be there.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a reader of books or a listener of podcasts?
I
I know you listen to the Loan Officer podcast all the time, because who doesn't, right?
I knew you well before you knew me.
Did you really? Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Oh, you made my heart smile. I didn't know that. It's interesting. Like, I tell people all the time, they're probably sick and tired of me saying this. I know what we're doing, right? I do. And I know there's a popularity behind it. But, like, this show is still, in my opinion, the second stage at a music festival, and it's Friday afternoon, and that's the stage we're playing.
Yeah.
Meaning we haven't been invited to the Saturday main stage, even if we're just the opening act, right? Or the second or third act. I'm not looking to headline just yet, but I still feel like we're the best kept secret in the industry. So yeah, it does make my heart smile to know that, no, you were in North Carolina, you were tuning in. Were you a YouTuber, a Spotify person, or an Apple?
Spotify.
So you're on Spotify, you're listening. So I know you're a podcast fan, but I'm going to ask you books. You do books too?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. What's one of your favorite books that you've read recently?
Let Them.
Oh, Mel Robbins. I freaking love it. Okay. Yeah. Do you have the tattoo yet?
No.
Okay. Yes.
0, actually.
Good for you.
It's not intentional.
So not your demographic
If
either.
it was up to me, I'd be covered, but
If it was up to you, you'd
Yeah.
be covered. Okay.
I mean, it's
Well,
the industry doesn't allow it. So
I wouldn't discount that. I thought you were going to tell me, like, for religious regions or no. Okay.
I'm
But
indecisive.
I've met many people that have the Let Them tattoo. Right, like that was a thing when Mel started podcasting about Let Them, and then she started writing about it. Y'all, if you haven't done so, do yourself a favor. Either get the audiobook or buy the book and read it. It is something we all need in our lives. It's a great perspective to remind us to focus on what's important and let everything else be what everything else is, which is not our issue.
right.
Awesome. Amanda, if people wanted to follow you or connect with you, right? Heck, maybe they're interested in learning more about Empire, learning why you're so excited. Why did Empire hire this professional to come in and be their director of growth? What is Empire up to? What's the best way to connect with you?
You can text me at any point in time.
Oh,
call me.
let's go. Let's throw out those digits.
All right. Phone number is 910-599-1619, and you can follow me on Instagram at Callaghan, ACALLAGHAN _team.
Callaghan _team on Instagram, or you can hit her up on the celly via text preferably, and that number was
910-599-1619.
and the Instagram handle?
Callaghan _team.
Perfect. Y'all, I am Dustin Owen. The best way to connect with me is on LinkedIn. First name Dustin, last name Owen. If you love IG, so do I. At the Loan Officer Podcast. If you're like Amanda and you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, I say thank you. Make sure you give us a 5-star review, because that's how you tell other people that this content doesn't suck, and the algorithm will feed them more and more of these episodes. However, I implore you, please go to the YouTube channel and click subscribe, because the YouTube channel, not only can you watch the podcast, but you can see all of our other free content like Coach's Corner and Mortgage School and Talk Mortgage to Me, and the wildly popular brand new show we started called The DO Show. Amanda, thank you so much for your time. I can hear the music getting louder. That's our cue that we have to put a bow on today's episode so we can go enjoy the rest of MortgageCon 2026. She's Amanda. I'm Dustin Owen. You've just tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast. That's all the time we have for you today, but we look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.